Anyone can change the world. Estonians have always been striving for innovation in technology and our way of life. Our digital infrastructure and our citizens' readiness to use new technology is your chance to test new products and services more effectively and receive faster feedback. Innovation and change is the end result of all true learning and education. Think of Estonia's smart business ecosystem as a test bed for your next innovation. Each one of us has 24 hours a day. What matters is how we use them. In Estonia, we've created a business environment that lets you thrive, where you can focus on getting things done, where you can realize ideas that make a difference, and where no goal is unachievable. Everyone has a talent. Something they are better at than almost anyone else. Raw talent without work gets you nowhere. But if you commit, you can become exceptional. You can make an impact. Estonia, the digital hub of Northern Europe.
Hello everybody and welcome. Today we are coming to you live from Tallinn, Estonia, and we are going to talk about all the possibilities and different business opportunities that are available here in Estonia from an industry perspective, especially focusing on R&D, automation and digitization. My name is Oliver Rätsep. I'm from the Estonian Investment Agency, and we have an excellent lineup of guests for you today. First, we're going to have on stage Mr. Viljar Lubi from the Estonian Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications. Then we are going to hear from Mr. Andreas Engberg from Ericsson Estonia, and he is going to give us his perspective on the business opportunities here in Estonia and how Ericsson has been in Estonia already for many, many years. Finally, we will hear from our very own, Ms. Anna Öberg. She will give a little bit broader overview of all the opportunities here in Estonia and how the Estonian Investment Agency can help you. In addition, you can also ask questions to all of the participants. You should see on your screens a link to the Slido app, and when you type in the code, that you should be seeing on your screen. You can ask questions to all the participants. I will see those questions and I will then ask the questions for you after each presentation. We understand that we are taking time out of your busy schedules, so we hope to wrap everything up within 1 hour. And without further ado, I would like to welcome here on stage with me Mr. Viljar Lubi from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications. Hello, Viljar.
Hi. Hey, hur du? My name is Viljar Lubi and I'm a business secretary for Estonia. So my job is basically to make Estonia a better place to do business. First of all, given that we're living in a time of pandemic, I really hope that you and your families are doing well, because it has been a tough time for all of us. But thankfully, it seems that we already see a light at the end of the tunnel, and soon we can, resume our normal life. But business is working well, and it's very good that business is working well, because this is what we are worried about as well, especially in countries like Estonia and Sweden. We see that we both have very resilient economies, as also indicated the latest GDP data that the EU Commission just revealed a couple of days ago. So resilience, I think, is the key question or key word right now throughout this pandemic as well. And in Estonia as well, we knew it from the very start when we started to transform our economy in the early 90s, that resilience is the key word. Because we need to catch up fast with other countries, and knowing that our size and our location are our shortcomings, how to do that. So that has been actually the main cornerstone of our economic policy, how to make your size and location irrelevant. We thought that technology is here to help. So we have heavily invested in technology, and e-Estonia comes into play. We didn't do it because we thought it's a sexy or a fashionable thing to do. We did it because we needed to do it. How to make, how to run a government more efficiently, more cost effectively. Also, how to catch up with global economic trends. So e-solutions enable us to do that. So government's role is to be as small and tiny and irrelevant in your everyday activities for businesses as possible. Because we don't want to interfere, we want to help. But obviously, government needs to be there. So this kind of e-society is important, and given resilience, given this pandemic, we see it even more, that these solutions, or let's say technical solutions, really increase our resilience. It doesn't matter. If we have a pandemic, we have a global crisis, it is locally independent. So resilience, e-government is important. And Estonia has many advantages there. Supply chains are shortening. People are talking about backshoring, nearshoring. These are keywords, and therefore, again, e-solutions come into play. We are developing very intensively in Estonia right now e-CMR, so that how you make customs declarations, everything online, paperless. Because how fast cargo moves, that's very, very important these days. Thirdly, education. Education is the key, and we are really educating lots of engineers, especially IT engineers these days. We even have a big problem, good problem, because many IT graduates, we try to keep them in schools, but they don't graduate, not all of them, because they already pulled to the labor market, because there is so big need for IT specialists. So we see that the talent pool in Estonia is growing fast. And I'm sure that this will be the future for Estonia economy as well. So education is very important that we invest heavily there. Because next that comes from education is, again, startups. Startups, something that provides new ideas, new solutions, how you make your economy more resilient to the future trends. So that's very important. And it's not only IT or software as a service solutions that Estonia is already breaking the trend, but also we go more to hardware. We have Skeleton, we have Starship, we have Cleveron, so already big names that might be unicorns already tomorrow. So this kind of investing in the future technologies, I think this is what we need. And also Ericsson later will tell how Ericsson was a big employer in Estonia just a few years back, and now it's contributing a lot to R&D. And this is exactly what we need. So probably my point is that although Estonia and Sweden, we are very close to each other, and we are Nordic by nature, we still, I don't speak Swedish, but we both understand ones and zeros. So this kind of leaning on technical solutions, I think this is both countries understand well, and we should cooperate more. So regional cooperation, given that in globalized world, it will stay globalized, but regional approach is becoming more important. I think we have very, let's say, normal links there. I stop here because I don't want to talk too much. As a government roles, at least in theory, my job is to listen to you, to economists or companies, what your needs are, and then facilitate as much as possible. And I maybe have some questions as well, so I'm happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Viljar. Actually, we do have some questions from the audience. I have these here with me. First of all, a question from Roger. How does the industrial policy in Estonia support enterprises in transformation towards automation solutions and innovative manufacturing?
Hi, Roger. Extremely important and very, let's say, difficult question. Industry, I don't even lie, if you take the macroeconomic picture, we have our champions as well. I mentioned Cleveron, Starship, Skeleton. But Estonian industry so far has been rather labor intensive. And I mentioned also Ericsson. Ericsson is changing the trend as well. So given that our labor pool is our biggest bottleneck, so we are re-educating our people as well. So to have more automated industry, this is what we are targeting. And in next 10 years or so, we're investing heavily in digitalization. So it's both digitalizing and automating industry. We are investing heavily in AI as well, to AI solutions that we think can really improve the efficiencies. So government support will be there, both grants, but we also, I think the latest couple of years now, we have extremely popular digital audit instrument so that we help companies to actually map throughout their, let's say, processes where they have shortcomings and where they can overcome them by digitalizing. So this is what we take very seriously, and the person who asked the question, Roger, is very right. This is the key, and we're focusing on that.
Thank you. And actually, this brings me to the next question. You have mentioned several times already the different aspects of e-solutions and the digital society. And I have the question here. Digitalization of the industry and society increases the demand for cybersecurity. How is cybersecurity assured in Estonia?
The whole e-government system of Estonia is based on trust. So everybody's, whenever I talk about e-Estonia, wherever, people ask about, how about the Big Brother? That, first of all, the government has too much information about you, but just think, how much information Facebook, Google has about you. So eventually it's all comes down to the question, whom to trust? We decided in Estonia already 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that we trust our government. But there are two buts. It means cybersecurity is paramount, so that the information, the data has to be securely stored, and therefore we have invested heavily there. I think cybersecurity competence in Estonia is extremely good. And second one is that, who owns the data? In Estonia, Estonians own the data. We keep the log, we see who checked your data, so that this also, transparency is a key also about security. If it's transparent, it's much better or much easier to secure also the system. If it's not transparent, then it's difficult. I give you just one example then. When Estonian government also has been on the cyber attacks. So what we usually do, we try to fix our, let's say, loopholes as quickly as possible and to talk about it. And again, if you take the parallel with corporate world, we get regular updates from software companies all the time. If you think what they are fixing the loopholes, but they don't say that there is a, let's say, insecurity. We just upload it, it's done. Governments do the same. So there is no totally proof security in cyberspace. You have to constantly be updating your service. So the government does the same, and we invest heavily.
Yeah, I very much like the idea about the data being transparent, and also the individual, the person, is actually the owner of the data, and can always check if or when somebody has been doing something with their data. So the system is very transparent, and you can always track basically who has done what on any level of the digital society.
I think this transparency is something, again, that really unites countries like Estonia and Sweden. We want things to be done in a transparent way. Also in business, maybe sometimes it's difficult because we are, let's say, for Estonians and Swedish, probably it's not so, because we're very pragmatic. We talk about things directly. We understand exactly what both sides want, and then see if we can find an agreement. But there is no hidden agenda, let's say, or something is, somewhere you don't understand. I think in this respect, Estonia and Sweden are very, very similar.
True. I agree. All right. Then we have a next question, actually. A little bit on a different topic, but a very interesting question in my opinion anyway. So the question goes, how does the public sector in Estonia work to enable the shift towards the circular production systems?
I think it's a very important question. What we try to do is that this is the future trend. Circular economy, real-time economy, green shifts in every aspect of life. There are two things. Government can enable both by restricting or by motivating. And most governments choose to do both. So restriction is important because we want to change behavior of people and companies, but also enabling or helping them is important. So in Estonia, for example, we have a government project called Accelerate Estonia. This is the accelerator where private and the public sector come together and try to accelerate some innovative ideas. Circular economy is one of them. So that government can create a platform where a market is created, and then companies come and start to trade. Because if they take anything concerning, let's say, more restrictions or more demands on based on environmental standards, usually if Ministry of Environment have the lead, usually it means obligations. If Ministries of Economy have the lead, then its focus is more on enabling and see what the opportunities are. So that we try to create also that this is also business opportunity, not only extra cost. So that this kind of we are testing new ways how to create marketplace for circular economy as well. And lastly, of course, we don't try to solve all the problems, but like in most countries, the same in Estonia, anything regarding this kind of environmental standards, we try to fix them in a long term and then stick to them, because companies need stability. They need, let's say, security to make their own investment decisions, so that we shouldn't change our minds as governments all the time. So this is also our plan.
Exactly. This a little bit links to another question that I have about resource efficiency and minimizing consumption and environmental impact. So I guess the government also has a very big role to play here, whether it's in terms of restrictions or like you mentioned in terms of incentives.
No, certainly. If you take these kind of incentives as well, if you take how much waste we have, then there are many ways how to think it, and I think we should see the bigger picture and see that the solutions might be out of the box as well. It's not always the issue that how much you recycle, but it's also an issue, or I see an opportunity, what is the lifespan of particular product. I mean, probably the best example is cars. We all know that 95% of the time one individual car just stands somewhere. Exactly. It's not used. Yeah. If we can increase the efficiency, like with planes engines usually running all the time, not right now, but usually. If also that the engine of the car is running constantly, so it means we can increase it by tenfold, and we can think that by increasing it by tenfold, it means we would need 10 times less cars. So we're solving many problems at the same time. Therefore, again, I mentioned this Accelerate Estonia program. MaaS, Mobility as a Service, is one of the projects there. How we can make it so convenient that we can use transport as a common good.
Exactly, makes sense. I have actually one last question to you, and the question is, in your opinion, what makes Estonia a competitive location to meet the demand for speed and flexibility?
I think this is the key. What I said earlier as well. We understand we're a tiny country, and I always say Estonia is not the market, it's a country. Our market is the EU or global market. So for us, we have done everything we can in order to balance it out that we are so small and we are in the periphery of the European Union, but so is Sweden. So this kind of efficiency, how you run your affairs with government, or also if you take the transport routes, Estonia has a very good location. Still, especially if you go to the east, so that we try to use those, and also we try to use this cooperation in the region. I think this Nordic region is extremely vibrant and agile, as everybody in the southern Estonia is looking up to us, saying, we would like to have this kind of flexibility and mentality to change, to reform fast. So probably this kind of appetite for reform and adapt to new technologies. I think this has been so far our advantage, and I hope that it will remain that way.
Very good. Excellent to hear that the government is also very actively involved in the promotion and development of the industry side in Estonia as well, and integrating Estonia into the global supply chains. It is absolutely wonderful to hear. And then I liked your comment about how Estonia is constantly not only adapting but proactively seeking new solutions to make things better and more competitive for the whole region actually. So thank you very much, Viljar, for this very good overview of what the government is doing and all of the opportunities that we have here in Estonia. Thank you.
And thank you all our Swedish friends as well. When pandemic allows, please come to visit us. Hej då.
Thank you. And with that, we are going to move forward to our next guest. Our next guest is Mr. Andreas Engberg from Ericsson, Estonia. Some of you might not know this, but actually Ericsson has been operating in Estonia for several decades already. So I believe Ericsson does have a very good experience in working and doing business in Estonia. So I'm very pleased to welcome here on stage Mr. Andreas Engberg from Ericsson Estonia. And yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So let's see if we can have some slides as well up showing. All right, so empowering an intelligent, sustainable, and connected world. If you take a moment and think about your everyday life, how much of that do you actually spend connected? Through your phone, your tablet, or computer, whatever it might be? And how different do you think that life would be without that possibility? At Ericsson, we're working on empowering this intelligent, sustainable, and connected world. That's our purpose, and that's what we're working on to achieve every day. So, connected to that. A few weeks ago, it was announced that we have 5G in Estonia. And then you might think, 5G in Estonia, the licenses are not released yet. Well, actually, together with Telia, Ericsson has enables 5G through something called spectrum sharing technology, which means that we're using current technology to adapt to 5G. And the development of that is actually partly done in Estonia as well. The hardware, the radios that connects you guys to 5G is actually produced at the supply site in Estonia. So a little bit of bigger picture to start with. Ericsson is a global company. We've been around for roughly 140 years. We have different business areas. I am coming from the networks business area. We are working in more than 180 countries. We have a net sales of around 22 billion euros. And we have roughly 100,000 employees. And of those, around 2,000 work in Estonia. So in Estonia, Ericsson has been, as mentioned, for quite a long time as well. We actually started off already in the 1920s with a phone factory in another city here in Estonia called Tartu. Then in 1991, the first representative office was opened up. In 1996, the Ericsson Estonia was started. And in 2009, we acquired the supply site that I am head of at the moment here in Tallinn. And I'm here to talk about supply and what we're doing, but we also need to mention other things that Ericsson is doing in Estonia, especially connected to this e-Estonia and digitalization and so on. And a few of the things that I would like to highlight is, for example, smart metering that Ericsson launched together with Elektrilevi, which is one of the major Estonian electricity companies, where you basically can measure the electricity without having to go to the different houses. That you actually did that a while back. Something else that Ericsson has done in Estonia is together with the government and some other private sector companies, worked on something called the government cloud, which Viljar talked a lot about, how to connect all things and digitalize all things. There Ericsson has played a key part as well to support that. And then when I mentioned that 5G is here in Estonia just 3 weeks back, well, actually, Ericsson, together with Telia and Taltech, one of the big universities here, we actually launched a test network for 5G already a couple of years back, where different companies and startups, and of course, students and scientists can try out different things on the 5G network, where you need the fast and high-quality data connection. Other things that Ericsson in Estonia is doing is, of course, collaborating, looking into how to create smart cities of the future, and, of course, also looking into other opportunities that we have now thanks to 5G. So, supply side Tallinn then. It was acquired back in 2009, and then it was full focus on mass volume production. Thank you. Now, however, we develop, release, and ramp up new 5G radios and RAN compute products to the market. So going from mass production to being involved in development of these different products, and then ramping them up to market before we transfer them out to partner production sites all over the world that are then closer to the main market of the products. So this competence we've built up step by step to become this kind of new product introduction site, going from big experience of doing mass production to utilizing that experience, and of course bringing in a lot of new competences at the site. A lot of engineering competences, for example, on how should we design a product to make it as cost efficient as possible to produce, for example. And how have we done that? Well, we've utilized, of course, the Ericsson global footprint, but we've also utilized the Estonian society and the digitalization that Estonia is very much in the forefront of. And one of the things that shown that Ericsson has been quite successful here in Estonia regarding that is that we actually quite recently received an entrepreneurship award for being the Foreign Investor of the Year in Estonia. We've invested a lot of money and time and resources to come to this step that we are now in the supply site in Tallinn. And that is thanks to some key areas. One of them is smart manufacturing. So when you talk about manufacturing and you talk about automation and digitalization together, of course, if you have a product that you can produce mass volumes of, you want to automate as much as possible. But being in the situation that Ericsson is in Estonia, we need to look into how to automate different parts of the production flow, since we have so many different products that we are developing and ramping up. So we've done that in different ways. For example, as you can see on the bottom left here, we have developed something called the Ericsson Collaborative Assembly Platform, where we have smart and machine learning to understand the different products that are coming. We are working with the remote augmented reality, for example, so to be able to repair products, not having to send them back to the production site if there are issues. Of course, we have automated guided vehicles, like you can see on the down right part, that transfers equipment and material and so on in the site. And during these pandemics, we've also worked a lot on how to collaborate with the different design centers in the world and the different other manufacturing centers in the world on how to do remote transfers of these kind of products. And of course, since we cannot travel the way we've done before, to be as present as possible through video links, through augmented reality, etc., etc. And all of this is enabled through a connected factory. So you have a private dedicated network to make sure that you have high security and low latency, so all these things can be run as efficiently as possible. So how have we achieved all of this then? Well, a lot, of course, is through collaboration. And a lot is through collaboration with the Estonian society. We have created a smart manufacturing team, which one of the main purposes is to connect the site and the different challenges we have at the site with different startups and companies and so on in Estonia to give us support and to give us ideas on how to solve things. Of course, we work with customers like Telia, for example, which we mentioned before, and other customers to develop new ideas and to utilize the digitalization. Suppliers come to the site. We work together with them on different solutions. We also work closely with the different universities here in Estonia, and we bring in interns to work for us and work with us. And we have different projects together with these universities. This year, for example, we had 46 interns at the site during summer, even though we had the pandemic situation. And we even managed to get one of them getting an award as Best Intern of the Year in Estonia. And then, of course, last but not least, we do things like hackathons, where we basically bring up issues that we might have at the site, and then we invite some external companies, mostly Estonian, local companies, to help us figure out solutions for that during a very short time period. Could be for 4 hours up to like 48 hours. Those are different areas on how we collaborate with the Estonian society. That's about it.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Very, very interesting to see all the different aspects of the work that you do here in Estonia and how the company has evolved over several decades already, being present here in Estonia. I do actually have some questions for you as well. I love the last slide you had about collaboration, where you mentioned that you work with, on the one hand, both the customers and suppliers, but then also, for example, the different startups in Estonia, the universities, and so on. And then my question actually is that, so the last slide already covers it a little bit, I guess, but then going even forward, then what do you think have been and will be the most critical factors for success for Ericsson in Estonia and enabling the sort of a continuous development?
It's a good question. I believe that we are on the right track. We can definitely improve even more just by having more of these collaborations that we talked about. And building on those, also then since we are a global company, we start at a small scale here in Estonia, and then we see there are things that we can actually scale, since we have other production sites as well, of course, and we have other design centers and so on. So that is definitely something that we hope to build more on. So we start small and then we scale it globally. So we can have solutions that we implement here in Estonia. In a couple of months, we can also implement them in our production sites in the US, in China, all over the world, basically.
Mm-hmm. So I guess in that sense, you can say that especially for Estonia, small is good. I guess so you can test here and then roll out globally anywhere around the world.
Absolutely, and then also fail fast. So we can try something, we try it in a small scale, okay, it didn't work, then we move on to the next tryout. So we need to be agile in that perspective as well, of course.
Exactly, very good. Thank you. Then a couple of more questions. Actually, I have two questions that are a little bit connected here that have to do with 5G. Because we did hear quite a lot about 5G already, and I know it's a hot topic all around the world at the moment. So the two questions that I'm combining right now are, so on the one hand, how will 5G affect industry as a whole? And then also, do you think 5G will have any impact on the circular economy as well?
Oh yes, I definitely think that we at Ericsson we see 5G as a big enabler for a lot of things, and we are only in the beginning of the 5G journey or the connected journey as we talk about as well. So to be honest, I think that the sky is the limit. We need to more think about what should we not connect, maybe then what should we connect, because the possibility is that to connect everything. So the question is more, how should we limit ourselves? We also heard Viljar talk about this, the privacy areas and things like that. That is, of course, more ethical discussions that you basically need to have more and more about regarding this. So I think definitely, I mean, if you know that we can already connect a garbage can, so you know that you don't need to go check it every day, for example. If you build on that and look, for example, smart cities in the future and things like that, then I see there's basically no end to the possibilities. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very interesting stuff coming on the 5G front, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right. Then another question that I have. You mentioned that you have around 2,000 people working for you here in Estonia. And the question is that how have you been able to find and attract the right talent?
Well, I think especially in these days, as we just mentioned, 5G is a very hot topic. And if you're, for example, an engineer, you like to work with the latest technology, then definitely Ericsson is one of the places to be. So that has helped us. And then also, Estonia being a country in the EU makes the possibility, maybe right now it's a bit difficult with the pandemics and so on, but in general makes it possible to attract talents from all over European Union. We actually have 55 different nationalities working at our site in Estonia. So from that perspective, we have good possibilities to recruit, and I think we are also an attractive employer from that perspective.
I would definitely have to agree that Ericsson is a very attractive employer, and like you said, you are attracting talent from all over the world actually. So people are very happy to come and work for you either here in Estonia or anywhere else. Then actually again a little bit connected to the next question that I got here. Let's see, also the working environment. that you provide for all of your employees. How has that changed? And then again, the question here a little bit touches again on the 5G, but I guess we can take it a little bit broader. So how have you created a sort of like a work environment that people would like to work in?
Yeah, and I think especially at this day and age with the pandemic and so on, I think it has changed a lot of people's lives. But if we look at the journey for the supply side in Estonia, starting with having volume production, people working at the line continuously all the time, to now when we develop basically the production line and develop the products to be run in that production line, you can do a lot of things remote. And that's what we find out as well. And especially now during the pandemic, we've been able to continue our operations quite well by looking into things like, okay, what of the work that I do can I do from home, for example? And thanks to this connectivity and the digitalized society that Estonia is a very big supporter of, that has also enabled us to continue with our operations quite well during the pandemic.
Very good. I love what you're saying, and then again, this touches on the next question that I have here. Is the question goes that what kind of leadership is necessary to get people on board on the digital transformation and to strengthen collaboration between people and then
I think that fail fast. It's okay to fail actually, but then do it quickly if you can, so you can try on the next thing. So have an openness to that, and then of course trust the resources that you have. Definitely very very important, and then also to be quite flexible. Show the way you're going or where you're going, but not how you get there.
Very good. And I have actually one last question that I have got here, and the question is, how can ICT support the development of production systems that need to be parallel and integrated to meet the market's demands for speed and flexibility?
I think that is actually a key to achieve what you just mentioned, because having things connected, and then, for example, with what we work at in Ericsson with 5G, have that really quick, low latency, could basically, in the end, show that I could control a factory somewhere else in the world, for example. And that is only possible if you have a secure connection, of course, and with high quality and low latency. So I think those are one of the keys to achieve that. So ICT is, I'd say, one of the absolute top two, together with us, the people, the two most important things to achieve anything like that.
Exactly, I absolutely agree. So people and digital solutions working together to improve and achieve bigger goals.
Yeah.
Very good. That's all the questions I have. Is there maybe anything else that you would like to add, or what you would like to finish up with? What you feel is important to know to all of our viewers online?
I'd just like to mention that, as we said, 5G is here, and it's a big enabler for us. And I don't think any of us has really understood what that actually will mean, but we will see moving forward here.
Exactly. So I would have to agree on you with this one, that there are definitely very big opportunities with 5G when we move forward in the next coming years, and then definitely I hope to see more good solutions coming from Ericsson as well. And I know you are definitely up for it together with Estonia production facility as well. So thank you very much, Andreas.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you. And with that, we will now move forward actually to our very own Anna Öberg, who is right now in Stockholm, Sweden. We would have had, or would have liked to have Anna here in Tallinn with us, but today Anna is joining us live from Stockholm. And I hope you can see Anna on your screens now as well. So, hello, Anna. Can you hear us?
Hi,
can you
Oliver.
see us?
Yes, I can see you. And thank you so much, Viljar and Andreas, for those interesting presentations.
Thank you. And yeah, Anna, the floor is yours, or let's say the screen is yours. In this case, we would like to hear from our very own representative in Stockholm, Sweden as well.
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm working as Director of Business Development in Sweden, helping Swedish companies who are looking to invest in Estonia. And today I will continue on the same topics that Viljar and Andreas described, but I will also go into an overview of the industry in Estonia as well as its surrounding ecosystem. So the industrial sector in Estonia is, of course, of great importance to the economy, accounting for 22% of the GDP. And Estonia is not only home to Ericsson, but also companies such as Enix, Hansa, ABB, and many more. The industry is also very export intensive, and 68% of the total production of manufactured goods is sold to the external market. And the largest export markets are Sweden together with Finland. So the Swedish and Estonian industrial industries are very closely connected already. Sweden together with Finland are also the largest foreign investors to Estonia. And the largest subsector in the industrial sector is mechanical engineering, which is also the primary category of goods, followed by wooden products that are exported from Estonia to Sweden. And this sector will also be the focus for the following of this presentation. Estonia possesses a significant contract manufacturing sector, which is experienced to supply global transportation, offshore, and industrial sectors. And it ranges from components used in space to complex mechanical systems. And Estonian companies are known for delivering complex and time-critical solutions with very high quality. And today's and tomorrow's consumers are demanding increasingly more customized and individualized products, which puts great demands on the flexibility in the production. And changing the nature of a product is something what Estonian companies are particularly good in and have the agility and flexibility to handle changed volumes, different variants, new materials, and material combination. Mechanical engineering sector comprises of more than 150 companies within the field of manufacturing means of transport. One example is the company Norma, who's producing car safety systems. Estonia also have a very long traditions in the shipbuilding industry. And one example is Baltic Workboats, who are also a large exporter to the Swedish market and delivered a fully electrical RoPax vessel to the Swedish Transport Administration in 2019. Mechanical engineering machinery and equipment is the largest product group within the mechanical engineering sectors, and it's the opportunities in this field that we will look a little bit closer into. So Mechatronics in Estonia is characterized by high qualified workforce with strength in engineering, electronics, and IT. And Estonia is at the cutting edge of R&D, production, and service for mechatronics with embedded software. And the strong expertise has been developed through lengthy collaborations between the sector in the mechanical engineering, but also with the ICT sectors, and as well, of course, academia and the public sector. And this has created a foundation for homegrown innovations that increasingly attract global clients and awards. A few examples are Starship Technologies, who's strategic partner to Daimler in smart van robotic delivery solutions. We also have Cleveron that has been mentioned, which is the parcel delivery solution used by Walmart and Zara in Europe. We also have Milrem Robotics, manufacturing unmanned ground vehicles for the defense and security sector, but also commercial and industrial clients and rescue services. Most of the largest companies in the sector are located in Tallinn and Harju County, but the engineering industry is actually represented in almost every region of Estonia. Estonia also have a sizable electronics industry, and it's actually the largest per capita in Europe. And this industry undertake R&D, prototyping, precision production, assembly of PCBs, supercapacitors, transformers, and semiconductors. And European leaders such as Enix and Stoneridge Electronics trust Estonia to provide high-quality, cost-effective, on-time solutions for their global client base. And this sector is really characterized for its high value add, efficiency, and adaptability that we have discussed previously, and in the product development processes. Estonia is also a hub for both in-house and outsourced production and distribution. Covers the full value chain from R&D, prototyping, precision manufacturing, and assembly services. It's also characterized by the modern technology and automated, environmentally friendly manufacturing processes. And the key to achieve this innovation in the industry has been the interdisciplinary collaboration, which is also which the entire industrial sector in Estonia benefits from. And if we look at the academic institutions, as mentioned, Estonia ranks top highest in Europe when it comes to math and science, and very high globally as well. Tallinn Technical University is known for its world-class technical education. And the curriculum, both in the universities but also in the vocational schools, are under close scrutiny by the entire industry to ensure that the competence is really up to date and also, of course, meets the needs and standards in the industry and also meets the global trends. And this is, of course, also an important factor that we have companies like Ericsson that are attractive to talents and international talents. Estonia also befits one of the most vibrant startup ecosystems in the world, and we have several accelerators providing mentoring and supporting commercialization of global solutions in, for example, IoT, robotics, etc. We also have the industrial parks with free trade zones in 3 places in Estonia, in Paldiski and Muuga and Sillamäe, for example. So this entire collaborative ecosystem is really important for the industry. The competence centers provide infrastructure and expertise to conduct applied R&D in collaboration with the corporate and academic partners. And of course, as mentioned, the IT plays a very important role in the Estonian society as a whole, but of course also in the industry. And I think what's important to keep in mind is that we talk a lot about the digital society, and actually that 99% of digital or government services is available online 24/7. But what is also important to remember is that most of these complex systems and solutions has been built by Estonian IT companies, and they are also the ones who are now transforming the industrial sector. So Estonia, with its innovative-minded people and government, the permissive legal environment, and the digital interoperability infrastructure, as well as the stable economy, provides very good conditions to really, similar to what Andreas mentioned, to test the new solutions and then scale to global markets. And of course, I have to mention in this context also the Estonian startup ecosystem, which since 2010 has raised more and more capital from foreign investors and actually reached 92% in 2019. And Estonia has actually produced 5 unicorns, which is places Estonia as the #1 per capita in the world. And we see that many of these startups also transform the industrial sector. We have matured startups like GrabCAD, for example, who created a cloud-based collaboration environment that helps engineering teams to manage, view, and share CAD files. We also have the latest unicorn, which is Pipedrive, a cloud-based sales software company. And we also have clean tech startups like Skeleton Technologies, which is Europe's leading ultracapacitor manufacturing. And of course, we were talking a little bit about mobility, where we have Bolt, but also micro-mobility companies like CoModule, etc. So I would really encourage also companies to engage with the Estonian startup community and establish those collaborations to bring the innovation into your company. So as you can see, there are plenty of opportunities in Estonia, and the investment agency, we help you to explore those opportunities and also help you through the entire process of establishing in Estonia. So I'm looking forward to continued dialogue and in-depth conversation about that. And this slide will have to summarize some of the main benefits of Estonia, and I hope this presentation sparked your interest on what might be the opportunities. But to summarize, Estonia has really the capabilities both from the manufacturing side, but also from the IT side, and also, of course, the startup sector. So when you marry those factors, it really creates an ideal place to create new innovative products. And so, thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for providing this very good and comprehensive overview of all of the opportunities that we do have here in Estonia. I actually do have one additional question to you. You mentioned in your last slide also the main opportunities, but then maybe going even a little bit deeper, and I was wondering, you would probably be the best person to give a sort of a Swedish perspective to this. So both looking back and also going forward, what do you see? What would be or have been and then would be in the future the main reasons for Swedish companies to invest in Estonia?
Yeah, well, definitely it is this innovation ecosystem, and we talk a lot about regionalisation and how actually this region can collaborate more to be competitive in the global market and increase our competitiveness together. And I think that, as Viljar mentioned, our business cultures in Sweden and Estonia are really similar, and collaboration works really smoothly, and we have already these close connections in the trade and the foreign investments, and I think that if we can even more closely connect the innovation ecosystems, and I would also encourage Swedish companies to explore the innovation ecosystem that exists in Estonia and to establish these cross-border collaborations that could really strengthen the entire region and strengthen Swedish companies, because in Estonia we do have certain conditions that we don't have in Sweden. Sweden is a larger country and more bureaucracy, I have to say, and things takes more time in Sweden, whereas in Estonia you're very agile and flexible, and you can also reach the decision makers in Estonia. We have Viljar Lubbi in Tallinn in the studio today, and you can really have this dialogue with all the relevant stakeholders that you need on board, because when we look at the future and the connected society and the mobility and the sustainability, it's not enough that one company sits on their own to find a solution, but you need to have this collaboration and get the stakeholders on board. So I think this is the key thing to really tackle the challenges that we are facing together.
Exactly, I would absolutely have to agree with you. I love the fact that you pointed out the sort of the agility of the Estonian country, and I think Andreas had the same point that in the case of Estonia, small is good. We can do things very flexibly, very quickly, be agile about it. So definitely, if you want to do things quickly and efficiently, Estonia definitely is the place to be.
Definitely. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to be able to bring all companies from Sweden who are looking to explore more the opportunities in Estonia and continue the dialogue. And my contact details are also in the event page. So I'm looking forward to continued dialogue on these topics.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Anna. I see that we are exactly on time. We promised to finish in 1 hour, and we are doing exactly that. So thank you again for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed the event. And as you can see, we do have some excellent business opportunities for Swedish companies here in Estonia. And like Anna said, if you have any additional questions, then please do get in touch with us. You have Anna's contacts in the webpage, or you can contact us in Estonia directly. With any business questions or other business-related issues that you might have, the Estonian Investment Agency is here to help you. Until then, have a great day. Have a great week. Tack så mycket. And I hope to see you all in Estonia soon. Thank you.